the press. Served to you fresh. We present to you local and international newspaper headlines for the day with in-depth analysis from seasoned professionals. Start your day the right way on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. A very lovely morning to you, Lagos. Thank you for staying with us after that exciting ride with the sports guys. It's time for us to take a look at big stories from the papers today, Wednesday, December 11. Don't forget that you can join from the front pages on YouTube and Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. That is Nigeria Info 99.3. You can tweet us as well at Nigeria Info FM, on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. On Facebook and YouTube, we're streaming live, so you can drop any comments, your thoughts as regards any headline that jumps out at you as we take a look at headlines on the papers, because today it has happened. We couldn't lay our hands on the papers due to some logistic issues. But we will, of course, be looking at headlines, big headlines with you today. I am Sheriff Quadry.
And I'm Wemimo Adewuni. Remember to join us on our socials, Twitter at Nigeria Info FM with your comments. And Rotimi Sankore is here. Rotimi, good morning. So we'll be running you through some of the headlines in the papers today, and you can tell us what you think and how you feel about those headlines when you join us online. Okay, let's kickstart, shall we?
That's right.
Let's look at the Punch newspaper. Okay, let me take this one. NIS registers 61,137 migrants. Reps seek illegal aliens deportation. This is a story from the Punch newspaper. And if you read of the details here in the Punch, the House of Reps has called for stricter enforcement of the federal government's border closure policy by deporting illegal immigrants, among other measures. The House at the plenary on Tuesday resolved that the current closure of the country's borders against movement of goods was not enough and called for restriction of human trans-border movement. So the lawmaker particularly urged the federal government to, I'm quoting, immediately review the immigration procedure in our borders with a view to restricting illegal immigration and deportation of illegal aliens residing in the country. They also urged the Controller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service and the Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service to, quote, be committed to exercise full control over the movement of persons and goods along the Nigerian international borders.
Rotimi.
I mean, this hand on your jaw. I mean, you have your hand on your jaw like that. Well, what do you think?
It's our technical problem. we have what we have.
Yes, we have what we have.
Okay.
Let's move on to other headlines this morning. Rotimi, this will interest you. It's a report. Police watch human rights abusers, according to a report here. A survey conducted by NOI polls has identified the police as the worst violators of human rights in Nigeria. According to the report conducted and unveiled in commemoration of this year's International Human Rights Day, 83% of Nigerians who were interviewed expressed the view that human rights violations were prevalent in the country. 30% of Nigerians interviewed across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country blamed the police for the prevalent human rights abuses in the country. 75% of the respondents, however, said they did not bother to report to anyone when their rights were violated.
This is disturbing. But as disturbing as it is, I mean, let's not forget, and people should please note, it's not an excuse, it's an explanation. The quality of many people recruited to the police is not as high as it should be. The training given to the police is not as good as it should be. The remuneration to the police is a disaster. the police are not paid enough. And we don't even have enough police.
We don't. We're really far from the number we need.
There is a whole lot of reasons why things are going wrong in the police. Now, if we want to address the question of the criminal elements inside the police force, those ones that stop young people, you are carrying a 7-year-old battered laptop and the guy is asking you for the receipts. And if you don't provide it, then you will be harassed, charged for some false crime. The way to address those people, to isolate them, is to ensure that the quality of recruitment improves, the quality of training improves, and the remuneration all round improves, and then the numbers improve. Then, between the public and the police command, it will be easier to root out those people.
As it stands right now, what can be done? Because we can have a lot of Nigerians saying that they don't even report it when their rights are being violated. Isn't that a bigger problem?
Yes, it is a bigger problem. It's a question of trust. It's a question of trust. If people don't trust the police, because a significant number, not all police are corrupt, by the way. It's important.
We have to state
it's
that
really
very
important
clearly.
to underline, not all police are corrupt. It's a significant percentage, significant enough to cause worry, and that's where the real problem is. But we can see that the police command or the police, the senior people, they try to deal with it. When police men or women, but mostly men, commit crimes against citizens and they are caught, these days they arrest them, they do the orderly room trial. They arrest them, they hand them over. Now this is the funny part. They hand them over to the police for prosecution, and some of them are actually tried. They are charged and tried. It's a difficult situation, but it's important that the police does its best to rid itself of those kind of people.
Yeah. Right. Let's see another story still coming in from the Senate. This is from the Guardian newspaper. Senate begins probe of 20 trillion naira on remitted stamp duty. The Senate raised alarm yesterday over the non-remittance of over 20 trillion naira revenue collected as stamp duties, mandating its Committee on Finance to investigate the anomaly. It said the non-remittance from banks and other financial institutions was through the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, a subsidiary of the Central Bank of Nigeria. It also noted that the CBN had officially directed the affected banks to collect the stamp duty on behalf of the federal government from 2016 to date. Now, the resolution of the Senate was equal to a motion on, quote, the need to improve internally generated revenue of the federal government by over 5 trillion naira annually through non-oil revenue sources available at his disposal. It's a sentence, but that's the title of that motion, sponsored by Senator Akinyelure Patrick Ayo from Ondo Central. So he's saying that because organizations, other people that were mandated to take the stamp duty were taking advantage of non-compliance with electronic transaction, according to him, we're not getting anything really.
I mean, this kind of big picture issues need to be addressed more. The revenue problem, as it is described by the federal, that the federal government has, is mostly because of things like this and things like security votes. Look, 20 trillion, that's almost twice.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, it's almost twice the annual budget. So that is one. Things like security votes, which also runs into hundreds of billions, if not a few trillion, also need to be addressed. Because you can't be saying you are broke, but at the same time, both the federal government, the federal government and the 36 state government are setting aside huge amounts of money, essentially to be used as piggy bank. They say security vote, but nobody has any idea what happens to that money or where it goes.
Right.
I mean, we saw one governor in Abia State, 7 billion naira. And that's just the icing on the cake, not even the real money. So if you say you have revenue problem, this kind of leakage is 20 trillion. Security vote. When you deal with all those big issues, then you can start chasing the woman that sells bolly at the roundabout.
These were monies already collected from consumers. So you're asking the consumer to pay these monies, but you're not remitting it.
Right.
So there is a problem.
The big problem. Let's look at the Guardian newspaper this morning. Reps move for council's autonomy, urge action on illegal immigration. That's Guardian newspaper today. The House of Representatives has passed the second reading of a bill that would grant full autonomy to the third tier of government in the conduct of elections for chairman, vice chairman, and councillors. It's titled A Bill for an Act to Alter Section 7 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, for related matters. It's sponsored by Dachang Musa of PDP in Plateau, and the sponsor said the intendment of the proposed legislation was to instill democracy at the local government level and institute a law that will provide guidelines for periodic elections. Good move by the lawmakers.
The first thing is that the executive governors need to hands off the local governments for that autonomy to kick in. I mean, the legislation is always important, but in practice, what the governors have done, essentially is to stifle local government autonomy by putting themselves between the federal government and the local government and then cornering the resources.
Right.
Well, somehow, some would argue, and it appears to me like some of those local governments actually like it that way because it also takes responsibilities off them.
Well, it's not that they like it.
Because I've not heard any of them complain.
No, it's not that they like it. Some have complained. The ones in Ogun State, for instance, went to court. Monday Ubani is representing them. So it's not as if all of them like it. But what essentially happens is that when the State Electoral Commission, I hesitate to use independence there, when the State Electoral Commission organizes election and the ruling party...
You can't choose to remove independence. That's their name.
If it's not independent, we can remove the I.
Well, that's it. The name includes independence.
When they organize the elections and the ruling party in a state wins 100% of everything, 100%, everything, in that kind of circumstance, I mean, if you are the boys and the governor treats you as the boys, you are hardly going to complain about anything.
Right.
So there has to be context to why they are not complaining. But in places where they are complaining, we should also acknowledge.
Mention that. That's right. Let's look at this story from Daily
Sun. The papers
are
here.
Newspaper. Yes, the papers are here. Finally.
The technical problem.
Yes.
So we're looking at the front pages now.
Absolutely. So let's get back to the front pages, shall we? Oh, goodness me. I'm so used to front pages. Why we burnt PDP women leader to death. Ocholi, that's the gang leader. It's on the front page of the Daily Sun newspaper. Let's look at his reasons why they had to do what they did. Okay.
If they actually were the ones that did it.
He said Ocholi, suspected to be the leader of political thugs that burned to death Mrs. Salome Achi Jugu, the PDP women leader, has confessed that they carried out the dastardly act because he'd been nursing a grudge against the woman before the November 16 governorship election. Let's stop there.
A personal grudge?
Yeah.
Nah, please.
It's political.
Oh, come on. A personal grudge. Ugh.
It's political. Personal grudge.
So somebody's taking the fall for the team, I guess.
A personal grudge that you go and implement on election day.
No, they can't. I mean, they should tell us something better, which is why I whispered if they are the ones that actually did it. I hope this investigation is actually thorough and the right people are paying for their crimes. But let's leave it there. Let's look at the Showore story is also on the front page. On the Vanguard is the biggest story. Showore's rearrest, reps to probe DSS over invasion of courtroom. There are 4 riders here say one arm of government cannot intimidate another. Fear National Assembly may be invaded someday by DSS operatives, task Buhari on adherence to rule of law. Why? They fear.
Didn't it happen?
I'm wondering what they're talking about.
I mean, granted that they were at the gates.
Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, but...
So they're saying maybe it could go
only have
beyond the
taken
gate.
one...
Kick.
No, one rascal among those people that blocked the National Assembly. Yeah, let's go inside.
Yeah. Why I didn't attend Wale Soyinka Center's award, says Oshimbajo here on the front page of the Vanguard. There's a similar story through the Showore's one. Showore, what we told DSS. Vanguard publisher kicks against death penalty for hate speech. You can read more on page 8 of the Vanguard.
I have one interesting story here, Rotimi, Wemimo. Everybody, please listen. I'm very dramatic because this is quite...
It had better be good.
Quite huge, and it's very good.
Okay.
It's on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Did I say it's very good? Okay.
You better be
It's
sure.
just important.
Uh-huh.
Buhari's lawlessness, our stand. I will just quote a part of it because it's quite a lengthy one.
Who's stand?
The Punch.
Oh, the Punch's stand.
That's right.
Okay, maybe an editorial.
It's
That's
a very
right.
good editorial.
That's right.
And it's historical too.
Mm.
They go back
Yeah.
to when Buhari
This is what it said. As a symbolic demonstration of our protest against autocracy and military-style repression, Punch, all our print newspapers, the Punch Saturday, Punch Sunday, Sunday Punch, Punch Sport Extra, and the digital platforms, most especially punchng.com, will henceforth prefix Buhari's name with his rank as a military dictator in the 80s. That's what they're saying. They will prefix his name with his rank as a military dictator in the 80s, Major General, and refer to his administration as a regime until they purge themselves of their insufferable contempt for the rule of law.
I mean, I practically was staring at you all the way. Yeah, that's big. They can refer to him as retired, yes, because he isn't in active
whether it is
service.
retired or
And
actual,
a regime,
look,
that's
the
really...
point that the Punch is making really is that, as the popular phrase goes, enough is enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point that the Punch is making.
Point blank.
And
Wow.
Buhari has no one to blame but himself. I mean, you can't allow a law enforcement agency under your direct command to drift into this kind of situation where they believe they can do anything they like.
Right.
And you, as president, will not call them to order. And then your media aides will start competing for the most silly spokesperson of the year, trying to make explanation, things that have no rationale. I mean, look at Governor Akeredolu. He's a governor. Is he not close to the...
Fantastic.
The man came out, he's a lawyer, he said, there can be no excuse.
He was point blank.
Nobody can make any explanation that is understandable or acceptable. Look, people that want to play politics, they are APC supporter, you people that don't like Buhari, they don't understand what democracy means.
Right.
Democracy means respect for rule of law, no matter who is involved.
Plain and simple.
That's what democracy means.
Right.
Everybody equal before the law.
You don't have to like the person,
Right.
I mean, but their rights must be...
And all law enforcement agency must respect the law. No
Absolutely.
law enforcement agency is above the law. They draw their legitimacy from the constitution and from the law.
Right.
So when themselves start to violate it, then that trust and respect is gone.
That means they're claiming to be above the law with their activities and their actions.
You can't turn yourself into, like behaving like henchmen, to look, several.
Okay.
All right.
That's a very strong move by the Punch, by the way. You can go read up more if
Commendable.
you want to. Yeah, if you want to read up more, please go on and read the Punch. Let's move over to the Daily Independent. Banner headline here: Presidency to probe Tunde Fowler's tenure as FIRS boss. I said it. I knew it was coming.
Right?
The two writers here. PDP asked federal government to fast track investigation of former task chief how he begged for second term in leaked document to SGF. This is also reported by several papers today. I kind of saw this coming. It's going to be a probe.
The probe, I'm not sure. Let's wait until it happens, then we'll see. Because what is not very tidy there, is the leak of the letter. So somebody's tenure expired, and the person writes and says, thank you for the appointing me, I'm open to serve for the second one.
If you so please. I don't see a problem with
and
that.
find attached,
kind of my
the
CV,
achievements and the things I would like to build on
in the coming years. How is that?
Why is that? And then you go and what's the point? Are they trying to humiliate him?
How he
Are
begged
they trying
for
to embarrass him?
Right.
If he says he is available to serve for a second term,
it's within his right. Actually,
it is within his right.
That's right.
Now, there is a little bit of naivety on his part, because if you were going to be reappointed, you would have been told. It's a bit naive.
Maybe that letter was written a long time ago. I didn't get to read.
There should be a date.
I didn't get to read the date and everything. I just saw a screen munch somewhere.
I don't get that impression. But nevertheless, at least a month to the end of your tenure.
You're absolutely right.
You will have an idea.
That's right.
They would have called you and said, "Oh, thank you, wonderful job.
Are you open
to
continue in this position?"
If you are left hanging.
But there's nothing wrong with him offering.
No, there is nothing wrong.
Why are they making a big deal?
There is nothing wrong. He's perfectly within his rights. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you are serving in a government where these kind of things are done arbitrarily, where there is no proper consultation, by the last month, the last 3 weeks, you should have an idea
of where this is going.
Of where the thing is going. You just pack everything
ready to move,
ready to go.
And if they then ask you to stay,
thank them for if they then ask you to stay. But if they don't, asking, now they are portraying it as begging.
No, I think it's wrong, making it look like there's nothing. It's a job.
There is somebody in government that does not appreciate what is called public service.
Oh, no.
How he begged. You feel a public servant has done their term, just let them go peacefully.
I don't embarrass them.
There is no point embarrassing
if
the
they
person.
have
and it's really in bad taste.
It is. If there's something they've done wrong and you think they need to answer, then do that on a separate page. But I appreciate them.
It's politics. It's political.
It's unnecessary.
It's a question. It's all this politics of who is he representing? Who recommended him?
Yeah.
How did he get there?
Who is he fronting for?
And because in Nigeria there is this politics of nomination.
Yeah.
This state nominated you. This political person nominated you. And therefore, if the person is falling out of favor,
it's not really about you. It's about those.
It's about other things.
This is really in bad taste.
I don't think many people will fault Mr. Fowler in the way he performs.
Personal capacity on the job. Well, you might want to read up other stories looking at political issues in Kano. Court stops Governor Ganduje from implementing new Emirates law in Kano. This is becoming very dramatic.
The emir went to court and filed a case in court.
It's really very interesting because
the matter is still in court. You can't then appoint him to chair the illegal committee.
When I read that story, then you appointed the person who's agreed to then chair. Very tricky. Really
There's something we have run out of time. We can't deal with.
We are.
The House, because the papers came late, the House is trying to legislate against hunger.
Oh, yes.
Food security.
We
talked about it just before we came in the studio.
Really
in the newsroom.
I was reading the news, and in my mind, I was asking, "Excuse me,
what's
you
the law?
You need a law to do that?
You need 3 months of food supply to meet the global standard of food security.
And we have a huge deficit.
3 months. I don't even think we have 1 week.
When we don't have storage, why would a law stop all of that?
You can't store the food. There is no light. The transport is not there. It's legislation. We hereby pass a law against hunger.
And let there be
And
surplus.
hunger will just go away.
Now, another thing that's cheeky. We need to go. When we come back from the break, we're looking at the rights. Yes, there was Human Rights Day. We're looking at the rights of prisoners. I would have the commandant from the Ikoyi prisons join us, and also an advocacy group that works with prisoners. Do prisoners have rights? You'll be shocked. Some of them have taken the government to court. We'll talk about that just after.
There are countries where prisoners vote.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that when we come back from the break. Join us again. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
I'm Sheriff Quadry.
99.3, your reliable station for more information around Nigeria.